Monday, November 13th. This is an end of the day SPY recap. To start off the week, we end up with a slightly two up green bar that kind of held the midpoint of the prior day and took out the high of the previous day, which we were expecting given the big green bar. But there wasn't much follow through, so it sets up some good reference points going forward for the rest of the week. In terms of the weekly chart, we know we kind of had a green bar to end last week that was breaking above this this target here at the purple line, which was the target on the way up. So if it wasn't going to reverse there, then we have a chance to start heading up to higher targets. And now we have a good reference point, the open of the week, which is the open of today. And as long as we stay above there, we should expect continuation higher. It is possible, given that we took out the high of this week, that if we go below the open tomorrow and for the rest of the week, we can get through the halfway point of that bar and maybe get a 3 reversal down to, take out the low of the previous week. But at least we have a good reference point now to start the week to know whether we are continuing up or maybe having a pause and reversing down and actually failing above this breakout point. So, for a while there, it looked like we might be failing at that point. Then on the very last day of the week, last week, we had a big green bar up, but today we didn't follow through all that much. So there's still kind of a key inflection point here at this purple line as to whether we hold and go higher or pause and maybe start lower. And in this case, I can also see on the daily chart higher high here. And if we do come down through that, we could definitely take out a lower low, in this little megaphone here that I'm kind of drawing with the mouse. And if we do make a lower low, there are some, gaps to fill in down here. So we could get an outside bar to the downside and start maybe eating into this big green bar if things want to head lower. But at the same point, we are starting up. We have, targets up above. So it's all going to come out to price action. Now, in terms of today, it's pretty straightforward trading in terms of you had the big green bar yesterday. This is the pre-market range between the blue lines today, and we held above the midpoint of that bar. So you're kind of expecting the potential, red to green move. In other words, once the market opened and started red on the very first bar, there was no real reason to look to short it since you're way above the midpoint of the prior day. And these type of days, the down opening, after coming all the way up and closing in the high, it's actually kind of a good development to get kind of a gap down here on the pre-market somewhere towards the top of that range, knowing that it kind of takes out a little bit of exhaustion risk and then can start up again. So that's what happened. You had the kind of, and I shot a video how I bought some calls here on this red to green move early on bar number 2, hoping that that was the low of the day, targeting the first bar high. And then once that was taken out, you are targeting the, yesterday's high and the pre-market higher at the blue line. That's exactly where it hit. You did have a secondary kind of entry here on this, orderly pullback green bar that kind of worked up but didn't quite take out that high. So you did have a good hour or so to try to get it, and then it could have been more. If you were gonna take a secondary trade, you could have just broken even there. And we kind of, bottom line was it was just one move up in the morning, and then typical is what happens in many cases when you hit a target, it just goes sideways for the rest of the day. Sometimes you get a big directional push up, but we didn't quite get 2 pushes up today, even though it tried. So anyway, we closed the day here kind of with a green bar, but not a strong continuation bar. So tomorrow, if we start below the midpoint of this bar and start lower and take out, this the open of the week, which is right here. It's essentially the open is kind of lines up with the pre-market lows, this blue line, and then this purple line is that key breakout point. If we kind of head down tomorrow below the midpoint with opening price action, taking out these areas, I could see a reversal developing here, higher highs and possibly lower lows. So we will play that. But as long as we kind of hold there and start higher, then in the big picture, we are heading up towards these weekly targets here, here, and here. So with the monthly chart also strongly to the green. So we will see what unfolds for the rest of the week. But today was a very nice morning trade, red to green move that moved all the way up nicely for nice gains towards its target of yesterday's high.